Hello readers! In a previous video I mentioned that one of my goals for BookTube this year was to read more and buy less. And I haven't bothered to count all of the books that I've already purchased this year. I was going to do a really big book haul, and as the books continued to accumulate and accumulate, I started having more and more anxiety about this gigantic book haul. So I ended up tweeting a poll in regards to how many books you guys like to see in book hauls, and the majority said 10 or less. Although it was about a handful of people that responded to the poll, it relieved so much of my anxiety that I was like, that's it. In the future, my book hauls are going to be 10 books or less. I think I can handle that. That seems digestible. So here we go. Let's do this. A quick 10 book haul. Another one of my book goals for this year was to find my why. I had actually read a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek, and he has a workbook that's dedicated to finding your why, which is called Find Your Why, and it's by Simon Sinek. So I'm going to use this to kind of answer some personal questions and get through the workbook and figure out what my BookTube why is. I also decided that I wanted to read some more Latinx authors, so you will find a few of these in this stack and in future stacks as well. This book was recommended to me by my cousin, and it is called The Prince of Los Cocuyos by Richard Blanco, a Miami childhood. It is a memoir, and it's written by the first Latino gay inaugural poet. I've actually already started this one, and just within the first few pages, I identified so much in regards to him and his abuela and culturally what he had to deal with, and so I cannot wait to finish this one. Number 3, I have another Latinx author, and that's Erica L. Sanchez, and she wrote I Am Not Your Perfect Mexican Daughter. The main character in this story is named Julia, and she has just lost her older sister Olga, and Olga was kind of the family's rock. Olga did everything that her family wanted her to. She was there, she stayed home, whereas Julia's a little bit more rebellious and doesn't really listen and doesn't want to follow the cultural norms. She also has to deal with her grieving mother that likes to throw things in her face and remind her how she's not like her sister. And so Julia is having a really hard time, and she does what she can to try to reconnect with her memories of her sister. So she ends up spending some time in her sister's room and starts discovering some secrets about her sister that the family just didn't know about. And so Julia starts to discover that Olga may not have been as perfect as everyone thought she was. I've actually started this book as well, and I've been listening to the audiobook, which I've been really enjoying. My next purchase was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. I have thought about this book a lot because Fangirl was one of my favorites. The characters in this book is mentioned and written about by Kath, the main character in Fangirl. I don't know if it's a direct spin-off, but I think she kind of took some of the ideas that were happening in Fangirl and she decided to create her own fantasy story about it. It's paranormal, there is a gay relationship in it, there's vampires, magic. The cover features Simon and Baz, and one of the biggest reasons I picked this up now is because I loved the new cover, and it's in paperback, and so I bought it. My next purchase was Down and Across by Arvin Amati. The main character in this book is named Scott. Scott quits a lot, then he meets someone whose dream is to write crossword puzzles, and they get to know each other and adventures ensue. There is a blurb on the front that is calling it quirky, charming, wise, and unpredictable. And I have Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. This is a YA fantasy that takes place in its own world where there's necromancers, and it also has a bisexual heroine. Keeping with the Latinx author theme, I picked up The Epic Fail of Arturo Zamora by Pablo Cartaya. This book is about what Arturo goes through when a land developer in his Miami town decides to make changes in the town that are unwanted according to the community. Arturo decides to put up a fight and defend his neighborhood with the new girl Carmen with the power of protest and poetry. I also picked up Last Stop in Brooklyn, a Mary Handley mystery, which is written by Lawrence H. Levy and follows the private investigator Mary Handley when a murder takes place in Coney Island in 1844. This is part of a series, and although I think it's the third book in the series, I believe each book kind of contains its own story, so I don't think you need to read them in order. Then I have An Innocent Fashion by R.J. Hernandez, which is another Latinx author. The back of this book is calling it The Devil Wears Prada Meets the Bell Jar. I haven't read either of those books, so sounds like it's a little bit of a coming of age book and about following your dreams and about the main character struggling with his identity and sexuality. The last book in this haul is No Good Deed, and this was written by Goldie Moldavsky, who is Peruvian Peruvian. I also picked this up because I thought it kind of fell under the Latinx category. Not entirely sure what this is about, but the character named Gregor goes away to camp and something, 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 no good deed goes unpunished. I just read the synopsis 3 times and I'm having a really hard time putting it into words, but I'm okay with that because I really do like jumping into my books, kind of going in blind. Anyway, so that was my Decalibris book haul. Be on the lookout for more 10-book hauls in the future. Like I said, I think they're a lot more digestible that way, for me at least, just way easier to talk about. If you've read any of these books, please let me know in the comments below. If we have similar reading tastes, don't forget to subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.